Welcome to Sholicast, the podcast all about Lolly and Shota, including Not Safe for Work. Sholicast is hosted by me, Hydro, and Dr. X. Together, we make up Team Cyberhex. We're the developers of Insexual Awakening 1 and 2, an adult visual novel game where you play as a Shota protagonist and get into all sorts of wholesome, naughty fun with friends and family. I primarily work on the writing and planning for our games, and Dr. X works on the programming, artwork, and additional writing. If you'd like to play Insexual Awakening 1 or 2, you can download them at our official Barag at barag.net/cyberhex. You can also check out our continued development progress of Insexual Awakening 2 at our Subscribestar, which is subscribestar.adult/cyberhex. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Sholicast. I'm Hydro with Dr. X once again. In today's episode, we are joined by Alex Yamchi. How are you, Alex?
Pretty good.
Nice. So one of the things we always start off with is, how did you get into Lolly and Shota, or Lolly or Shota?
Well, the thing is, when I was young, my high school were started getting obsessed with things like Pokemon, Beyblade, Yu-Gi-Oh, all those things that teenagers get into, the fads. So I kind of at first got into the whole trading card thing, but then it progressed. I got bored of it, and I kind of got bored of anime, so wasn't a fan of that. Then I moved on from being that to doing other stuff on the internet, which is a whole different personality. And then I guess I started watching anime again when I was in my mid-20s, I'd say. And I got into the whole One Piece and I guess all the kids' animes like Digimon and that. I liked it. The characters in it were kind of an appeal to me because the appearance of them have differed from when they used to be published in the 1980s in Japan, because back then the doujins, old shotas, were very different to today's modern era of characters, because today they have more of a different appearance to what they used to, because characters in anime are basically based off of cats, from what I know. It's a fact that I learned. And I guess I found different sites that were kind of oriented towards Shotakon and so on. I collected, things. I watched the first, naughty anime I ever watched, I guess, was Boku no Pico. So that's kind of the lineage of how I guess I became a fan of it all.
Interesting. Well, I definitely agree with you that the style of anime definitely has changed. It's gone through, like Dr. X and I have talked about this before, where the style of how characters look kind of go through different phases. Like, I remember I got into anime when I was kind of in my teens, and like late teens, and I think one of the main reasons why I didn't initially watch a whole lot of it, except for like Pokemon back when it first came out, like in 2000, 2001, was because I wasn't really a fan of the style. I just didn't like how it looked in like the mid 2000s and late 2000s. But then once the early 2010s came along, the style totally changed, and I really got back into it. Now I'm a huge fan of it, and Dr. X and I are always watching anime almost all the time now. It's great.
So, Alex, would you say that you prefer the modern style the most?
Yeah, I guess I'd say the modern style is really an improvement from how I can tend to agree that back then they were crudely drawn, and it's basically the same style, I guess, as they had them in doujins. You know, they took it from the doujins and, you know, hand drew that stuff, and that's what made it look so different then, because back then they didn't have the technology we have today to make computer generated art. You know, without that, they wouldn't look amazing like they do today.
Yeah, that's definitely true. That the CG stuff at anime has definitely gotten better compared to before.
Oh yeah.
They've gotten pretty close to making it indistinguishable. Not quite there yet, but I think they might get there one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen big leaps. I mean, we've kind of seen like the progression. Like I think the first anime that like was all purely like CG characters that I thought was pretty well done was Dorohedoro. And that was like several years ago, and then Beastars came out, and I thought Beastars was really good. Like I thought the style with the CG models was extremely good in that. And they're just getting better and better now, and some shows like kind of blend the CG with the hand drawn. And I mean, when I say hand drawn, that they all draw it on the computer now on tablets and stuff, but it's still like it's hand drawn initially, and then they blend it with like CG models, and it's amazing how far it's come in just like 10 years, I'd say. Like it's had huge jumps.
I suppose we look at it from like when they had Doraemon, I guess, and Conan. You know, back in those days, Conan and Doraemon and all that. You know, that was the mid progression of it all. Like we knew they were getting there, and Japanese artists were getting better and better. And then we went to Sailor Moon, which helped progress it even more. Because I remember as a kid, before I went to school, like I used to sit in front of the TV for hours on end, just like endlessly watching anime before I went off to school. You know, it's like an old pastime, that sitting in front of the box watching anime till you had to go. You know.
Well, so it's almost like you had like a nostalgic desire to get back into anime. It sounds like you were really into it when you were younger, then you kind of had like this period of time where you didn't want to watch it, and then you got back to it like in your 20s. That's what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, of course, because, you know, I got into technology. You know, technology was more of an interest for me at that point, because I was more infused with coding and doing web stuff and learning about code and such. That was the middle of it all. Like I was no longer interested in anime, but the whole web development area, you know.
Yeah, I had my period too where I stopped watching anime for some reason. I don't. What's funny is that it's like I don't even know why it really happened. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
But I've gotten back into anime, especially with Hydro, and it's been a blast talking about anime with him and watching it. So I remember you mentioned Boku no Pico. Was that something that you liked, or was it just kind of your introduction to NSFW Shota?
Yeah, that was, I guess, my introduction of NSFW stuff like that. It was like the first ever thing I saw that was lewd, that involved males on males and adult on male, which, yeah, kind of aroused my interest per se in many ways, where I wanted to actually get into it again. And then there were more animes like that and I forgot its name, but it was one where it showed a character. It was before Boku no Pico, where it showed a character is thrown in jail, and you know he has to plead his case. It's another one I kind of got into.
Was that like an NSFW one or a safer word?
Yeah, that was a very NSFW. If I wish I remembered the name of it, but it doesn't come to mind. And then there's another one which I forgot, which was to do with a trap character and a Shota character. See that many of these you forget during, when you get older, it's your brain becomes less sufficient to, remember things.
I think I might remember that one. It was like a character who's like an idol character, right? Is it that one? And they're like on the beach or something. They do something like under the bridge.
Yeah. That one. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, I remember seeing some of it. Some clips from off of like Gilburo or Sankaku Complex.
Oh yeah. Then it progressed to finding. I don't know if you guys remember it, but a site called Shota-chan. I think it was called Shota-chan.
Yeah, I think Hydro and I were on it for briefly overall, maybe like 1 year before it closed down.
Yeah, yep.
I was a big fan of that website because it was only for a single interest for the most part, and that's what it was there for. I was kind of distraught when it shut down too. I was like, where am I going to go? What am I going to use? And then, pops all the fallen. There it is, and it's all its glory. A site I can use an alternative to, Shota-chan, since it's gone, forever.
I think there's a site called Shota World these days. I haven't been on it yet though.
Oh yeah, I'm a user there too. I don't think Shota World is as active as I'd like it to be. It's a good site for resources, but I don't know, it just seemed a little inactive for me. I mean, whereas all the Fallen kind of has more hyper activity on it because everyone's just talking there. It's like a crowded train, and I'm not trying to compare each site because each site has its own specific, unique nature, and one of them, each site is amazing in its own way. So,
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, ATF has I'm glad to see a lot of activity on ATF, and that's kind of like a little, kind of like the nexus site of Shota and Lolly stuff. So would you say that Shota and like male on male stuff is like your main thing?
Oh yeah, very much so. Shota, Trap Shota, femboys for the most part. I love femboys. Shota X adult, that those are the main specific values that intrigue me.
Since you say that you've been watching, you watch anime a bit, are there any like kind of ships that you really like that are like involve a Shota?
There's an anime that I like, but it doesn't have. It's a straight Shota show, I guess, but it's called The Maid Who I Hired Is Extremely Suspicious, I believe it's called.
Yep, Dr. X and I have watched that one. Yep.
The way it's progressed is incredible, and I enjoy every moment. It's just extremely goes from one extreme to another and another, and it's just funny to see the male character trying to find out what's going on with this maid, and then the maid is basically messing with the boy, trying to, make him very much more auspicious about her.
Oh yeah, it's a very interesting dynamic, and it's fun because the maid is kind of playing with him a little bit, but at the same time you can tell that she does have some feelings for him because she does get flustered sometimes by his reactions
and what he says. Now, have you seen it all? Have you seen the entire first season? Yeah, I don't think there's a second season, but have you seen like the first season?
I've seen maybe up to, I think, like episode 4, and then I got sidetracked, I guess, by other animes. There's a new anime out called The Three Brothers Yazuka or something like that. Have you guys? I don't know if you guys have heard that, but it's about like a all-boy family, and there's the oldest, the middle eldest, one of the youngest, and the little toddler character. It's it's quite adorable in its own way, you know.
Oh, cool. So do you see like Shota potential there yourself?
Very much so. It's, you know, with it being a whole all male family, you see what's going on there. There's females who are friends, but it's not the only person with the romantic interest is the middle eldest, who's, you know, has a love interest.
So do you see like Shota incest potential then? That's what it sounds like.
Definitely between the youngest, the middle youngest, and the other two, it's like four boys. Yeah, for sure, 100%. Something's gotta happen. They all get bored. There's no girls in that family. Something's gotta go on, you know.
Uh-huh.
You know how teenagers are.
Right.
You know, when they hit that age, you know, like they get curious about their body and that. So
Yeah, I mean, that almost sounds like a show that's like perfectly set up for that kind of thing. If you're a fan of like Shota and it'd be
Yes.
really funny. It'd be really funny if one of them was also like a femboy, and that then you know that they would be designing it with that in mind. People shipping them together.
oh, you could ship them, yeah, for sure. Because the thing about them is they all almost got the same faces, same hair, same way they dress, you know.
I know like another anime that's popular for like Shota, like male shipping, is Black Butler. I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Oh yes, I'm quite intrigued with the young male character and the adult character. I forgot their names, but I know there's a love interest between those two, and I think maybe, you know, they're in a relationship, maybe.
Well, I haven't seen the whole thing, but I think how it's implied is that it's not like directly saying that they're in a relationship, but you know, because they have like a very strong relationship between each other, that, you know, people who are watching who are into yaoi are very attracted to the pairing because they can see it easily happening because of that strong bond between those two characters.
Yeah, they really do, and you know, just I haven't seen every single episode. That's an anime I probably catch up on, like many of the lists and lists of anime I should be catching up, but have been too lazy to catch up on because, you know, I do other things. But that is probably among the many animes I have to watch, you know. I gotta see what's happening.
I know how you feel. There's lots of anime I have on my list that I want to watch it at some point. I just need to make time for it.
Oh yeah. It's like you have this so many like animes you gotta watch. Like By the Grace of Gods is one I haven't watched. Aristocrats Otherworldly Adventure. My One Hit Kill Sister. Those are the few anime. Stars Align. There's are many, like, those are the few ones I have to catch up on personally, along with watching, you know, the brand new episodes, catching up with what I haven't watched, which is Doctor Who, because I'm actually a Doctor Who fan as well. Someone I know got me into it, so, you know.
Hydro definitely mentioned something, good point, that there's, I mean, in like anime that there's like a primarily male cast. It's like very very well set up for like male shipping, and sometimes it's very fucking obvious. Like have you heard, I'm sure you've probably heard of those like sports anime where it's like almost entirely male characters.
Oh, yep. The soccer one, there's a swimming one. It's I forgot what it's called.
Free.
Yeah, Free. And the character, one of the characters is Australian, I actually found out. Because there's an episode where one of the characters goes back to Sydney, and, you know, it's really well drawn because the artist through Sydney really well.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's actually cool to see that, they've put this character saying that he's an Japanese Australian, but lives in Japan currently.
Yeah, I always find that interesting when they have characters like that. I remember from Persona 5 there was a character called An who's I think she's half, maybe she's, I'm not sure, remember she was half American or a quarter American, but she's mostly Japanese, but like yeah, I think mostly Japanese, but a little bit of American, something like that. The story goes a little bit over like her experience as a kind of like a half Japanese or mostly but not entirely Japanese person. So I think that's always interesting. Did they go into a little detail about like how it is for him being in Japan?
Not that I know of. Like, he's still close with his parents, from what I saw, and his parents are obviously really like proud that he's this like big athletic swimmer for Japan. Does his name proud, like makes his family proud. That he invites his friend, and the parents are like happy to meet the friend and that.
That's cool.
Is there any kind of, I was thinking about this, is there any kind of, because I think about like the different dynamics and different kinds of like scenarios that could happen from different animes. Is there any like, is there any kind of pairing that you haven't seen occur in an anime that you would like to see? Like, for example, like Dr. X and I have talked about how like you almost never see any anime involving a female like furry / anthro character with a human male character. And like, I wonder if there's any kind of dynamic that you've maybe never seen before with like shotas or anything like that. Is there anything you can like think of in that regard?
Well, when you've watched a lot of anime, you come across like quite extraordinary characters, like with amazing personalities. Like Beastars, amazing characters, but with Beastars, I wish there was a younger, like a little brother maybe for the main character to have that would be involved. That would be an awesome dynamic to see a little brother involved with that. Even though the anime itself is very gory, Beastars was an amazing anime. I would have liked to see either maybe a human or maybe a younger brother in that situation for the main character. So, the younger brother can look up to the main character and say, I wish I was like him.
Well, wouldn't it be funny if like Legoshi like had a younger brother and he was like about as tall as like the bunnies?
Yeah.
That'd be fun. I would definitely like that.
Uh-oh.
The bunny in that was quite, she is very strange too, It'd
also be funny if like what happens is like Juno gets sick of pursuing Legoshi and then she goes after his younger brother. That'd be I love that dynamic.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
I was thinking that this scenario would be funny because the scenario where he has a younger brother, because that was like as tall as oh fuck, what's the bunny's name again? Forgot.
Haru,
like as tall as Haru. Because I was like uh-oh, because Legoshi seems to have a thing for shorter animals.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
Aren't
the characters in Beastars mainly teenagers?
Yes, and that's why I think what you said was interesting to me, because it's you don't like really see characters that are younger than that. So it would have been interesting if you did have like a younger brother or there was some other character who was younger, because I don't remember ever seeing that in the anime.
Me neither.
And that would be interesting because it kind of flesh out the world a little bit. Because it's definitely an interesting world with the whole like dynamic between prey animals and predator animals, and so seeing a little bit of the world as far as the characters who are younger than like high school age, it would have been interesting.
Oh yeah. But it also feels almost like Zootopia might have taken a chapter out of that too, with the whole beast, anthropomorphic creatures. I'm not really sure if Zootopia took a chapter out of that, or whether the creators of Beastars took a chapter out of Zootopia. But either a straight good movie, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's a good question of which one took experience from the other, if any. I would say that sometimes I'll watch an anime that has like a fanboy character, and they might even be kind of on the shota side. I usually just watch shonen for the for context. Basically, what I've noticed is that sometimes they'll like kind of tease the eroticism with a femboy character, but they ultimately won't go through with it. The male protagonist might even show some interest, even if not intentionally in the fanboy character, but it will never go anywhere. So for me, in terms of like the male stuff, is that it would be nice to see. It'd be nice to see a kind of shonen, anime that actually has them hook up. I would love to see that, because you basically don't see it at all, and basically at least for the most part, that in an anime where two male characters do get together, it's usually an anime that's geared towards women, and that's perfectly fine, of course. But it's kind of a different dynamic compared to something that would be geared towards men. So it's kind of a complicated subject, because you can go into all different sorts of kinds of topics regarding that, like the whole bar thing, for example. Might be interesting to talk more about this in another episode. But anyways, like fanboy stuff is something that can kind of bridge the gap in a way, because it can kind of appeal to guys who are otherwise completely straight. So I find that kind of interesting. I don't think I've ever seen it in like a shonen anime where like a femboy character will actually end up with a male character instead of just a little bit of teasing. So it'd be nice to see a shonen anime that actually has it happen.
Yeah, it's kind of like the dynamic between Hachiman and Sakatotsuka.
Exactly.
It's like he likes Saika, but for some reason Saika doesn't show those same feelings, so it doesn't really progress any further.
Yeah, so I would love it if it actually ended up where they get together or something, because for one thing, that's very unique, so that's interesting out of itself. But since I do like the fanboy stuff, that would be very I would personally like it, I'll put it that way.
Oh yeah. Like there are a ton of animes, like some of us would like to see, a relationship between Hunter x Hunter's main character. I've got the boy's name now.
There's Gon and I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's Killua or something like that.
Yeah, Killua and Gon, and some of us would like to see a relationship built between them.
Yeah.
A romantic.
And I think I've actually seen like I think it was like an official animation. It was like a little animation where Gon was trying to kiss Killua, and Killua put his palm up, so Gon ended up kissing the palm of Killua. They know what people are thinking at the very least. It was so yeah, they know what's up. But it would still be nice for those fans who are fans of those ships, which it seems to be a pretty popular ship as far as Shota goes. It would be nice for those fans if they ended up getting something more official. But the whole thing with shonen is that it's only kind of teasing stuff, and it doesn't actually end up happening. Even so, people of course make all sorts of fan works where they do end up getting together.
Well, yeah. I also think that Japanese artists and the animation studios, they're scared of putting any homoerotic or erotic content out there that's to do with same sex, because they don't want like a part of their fan base saying, hold on, this is wrong. But then they got the other fan base that say, we love this. Like they want to please both sides, but come on, have we ever seen Gonin or Killua, get anything romantic between a girl? Well, I don't think I've ever seen either of them,
Suspicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, they try to walk the tightrope. They try to make content where that it won't like offend certain kinds of straight guys watching it. At the same time, they content that will appeal to like the yaoi fangirls or the gay guys watching. They definitely try to please both sides, and it reminds me of I was reading about I think it was Persona 2. Okay, there's the main protagonist, and he's kind of like a normal, typical high school male protagonist kind of character, and then he also has his best friend who's like more of a femboy kind of person, like slighter build and like kind of feminine hair or whatever. And I remember reading that the people who made Persona 2 were like, they specifically played up to the kind of romance teasing between them because they wanted to get like more female fans. It did seem to work. But yeah, like his best friend is clearly into him in Persona 2. There's even a dialogue option to have the main protagonist say that he likes his best friend. It doesn't really go anywhere though, so it's kind of goes back to my other point, is that you'll see teasing but it doesn't really go anywhere. But that's what it reminded me of. One question I have for you is there like a certain kind of shota or certain kinds of shota that you particularly like a certain personality type or appearance?
I'd say characters like Reg piqued my interest. Reg from Made in Abyss.
I like Reg. He's great. I like him.
Characters like Gonin, Killua, Yuzuka brothers, just like the whole slender, short type with an average personality that isn't even characters like what's his name from the Reincarnation anime?
Are you talking about Jobless Reincarnation?
Yes. The boy from that. Those kinds of patterns. Because I know the boy in that, the fact that he got a naked massage in that one episode, it shows me, he has a jobless reincarnation. They showed his penis. They got him getting a massage by an adult. They're not afraid of doing all that,
The only thing that disappointed me about Jobless Reincarnation is that he gets older and older.
Yep.
I wish he stayed as a shota like he did in the first several episodes. Then I would still be watching it. I'd get Dr. X to jump on board with it too, because I would have loved to have seen that, like an isekai where the character remains as a shota throughout the entire series would have been awesome.
Yes, it would have been. And you can have like 69 episodes and they all show his penis.
Yes.
Okay. It's like, how in Pokemon they show Team Rocket in every episode.
Yeah.
It's like that, but except they show his penis in every episode somehow. Like they always find a way to show it. That would be funny.
They could take a chapter out of Pokemon, because Ash stayed 10 in all episodes, seasons of Pokemon. Always stayed 10. Didn't change his age at all.
Yeah, they could have done that, and I think it would have been more fun. Either, I mean, you can. There's like two ways you can kind of do it. Is where like you kind of extend how long a year is in the universe, because I kind of feels like that's how it is in Pokemon.
Yes.
And that's why he's been 10 for so long. Is that a year has more days in that universe than in real life?
Apparently so.
Or you can just do it where the anime, it basically just covers the years where he would be a shota and then ends before he would actually get older. So there's two ways that can be done. And of course, there's another way that you don't see very often, is that like the shota character in particular will never age past being a shota, which is also fun, I think.
It's kind of the whole Simpsons Family Guy universe thing, Bart never changes his age. The Griffins kids never change ages. Well, maybe Meg, but Chris always stays the same. Bob's Burgers, all these other shows, they stay popular because they're preserving the ages of the characters and they don't change in any way, form, or shape, except maybe special episodes where they fast forward into the future where, you know, they're older, but those are kind of rare episodes.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because that people stay interested in this stuff because they kind of keep the characters the same. They don't change them too much. And that reminds me of Hydra's experience with the reincarnation anime, is that he lost interest after because the protagonist was changed too much because he got older. It fucked up the kind of premise too much for Hydro. Would you agree with that, Hydro?
I mean, I would say, like, well, what happened is like I was expecting, because here's the thing, that they set it up. He's learning like his powers at an extremely young age, and then you see like a ton of like progression with him meeting this teacher who kind of teaches him how to use his powers more, and then he meets up with this acute lolly character, and then he meets like this adult female like kind of half human half wolf character that was awesome. And so the expectation you were given was like, oh wow, man, this is really cool, because it looks like his adventure is going to be going through when he's young, and then all of a sudden it just kind of does these abrupt time skips where like a year goes by, 2 years goes by, and then he's talking about how he's getting pubes and stuff, and I was just like, oh, okay, all right, I guess we're not going to see those adventures that he had.
Yeah, that's too bad.
I think the Dojin might be different too. Like, I'm not sure. I've looked at the wiki about the Dojin, where it like goes from 10, 12, 15, 16, 20s. I'm pretty sure that's how. I could be wrong, but I think it goes through to he's about in his 20s or 30s.
Damn.
Yeah, and that's how I lost interest once I found that out. And I mean, the anime is doing that. You know, going back on like the Family Guy and Simpsons characters, it's definitely like, well, here's the main difference, I think, anyway, is Bob's Burgers and Family Guy and The Simpsons, they're sitcoms. So they're more about putting the characters in just random situations that are all self-contained stories for the most part. So you don't need to progress what happens to them, and therefore they don't have to age. They don't have to like go through life-changing experiences or life changes. Whereas anime is a lot of time, well, with the exception of maybe One Piece or something, or Pokemon, for example, the characters do at least develop and have things happen to them that changes their behavior later on in the series. So even if they don't physically look different, their personalities have grown and changed and stuff. Whereas in those sitcom shows, I mean, there might be rare occasions where they'll, mention something that happened in a previous episode, but it's not substantial enough to actually change their character.
Yeah.
So for people who don't already know, Alex, what kind of work do you do?
At the moment, I create content with an application called Koikatsu, or Koikatsu Party, which is the one of the releases, and it comes with another application called Paris Studio, where you can make and pose 3D characters that you can create with Koikatsu into situations like maybe they're fleeing from a angry mob, or if they're like about to fight a horde of monsters, or something erotic like getting done doggy style from behind. It's a whole thing where you can have filters, have objects, custom maps, voices, and so on. It's a learning curve for the average user, but there are a lot of people out there with talent who use Koikatsu, and I'm probably still on the learning curve of it because I'm still getting used to it. But there are a lot of people out there who actually know how to use it, like Anna, or whatever her name is. I forgot her name. She makes good stuff with show the characters. I was told, I learned all this about Koikatsu from, because I used to use custom made, and Illusion Shiftsoft made custom made Koikatsu, Honey Selects, all that other stuff. It's something that, you know, you got to really focus on and have a lot of patience with, because sometimes you don't go your way with FK and RK Bones and so on. So yeah, it's basically 2D made or Blender on steroids, I'd say.
Is a lot of the work that you do in Koikatsu like the Shota and yaoi sort of stuff?
Yes. I don't think I've ever made anything else other than male on male or male on adult. That's as far as I've made, you know. It's all been homosexual stuff.
Is your favorite the Shota on Shota stuff or the Shota X stuff, or are you like equally, or do you like both equally?
Yeah, equal. I do enjoy the Shota on Shota and the Shota X adult. You know, those are both my personal favorite things. It's just the fact that you can put these two things together with your own characters or previously created characters in a whole situation. It's a lot of stuff that I found interest in making.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And for like the adult characters, is there a certain type of adult you like to play with the Shotas? Is it like do you like the older brothers the more, or do you like them to be unrelated or anything like that? What's your perspective on that?
All my characters are in no way related. Yamchi-san is the blonde boy, and then you got the Yamchi-kun, who is the more tanned characters. But you can mistake them as brothers because they look like each other, but it's usually them with I don't know if you guys know what Sinsac characters are, right?
Sinsac? No, I don't think I've heard of that.
Sinsac are basically muscular men with sacks on their heads, and it's got Japanese text on the front of their sacks.
Oh, that's interesting. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That's interesting. Huh.
Is it kind of like a faceless character sort of thing?
Yeah, for the most part, they never ever have a face. It's just they always wear sacks on their heads. It's a thing because before I got into Koikatsu, actually, I forgot to mention, I was into MMD, which is like a creation thing where you make music videos and such. So it went from MMD to Koikatsu.
So for those sack characters, is the point that is it so you can project onto the adult male more easily, or is it something else?
It's more of a whole dominant thing with the male adult characters dominating over the younger male character in that situation, where you know they're showing their strength over the Shota characters, you know, and showing their resilience to, you know, the sexual resilience in the.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you'll also see those faceless characters and straight stuff, and yeah, you're right. I think the point, at least a lot of the time, is that it's to show the dominance of the kind of faceless character over the whatever character is getting fucked, basically, and it's so that you can focus on the characters that's getting fucked, but at the same time have that sort of situation where that character is submissive or otherwise being dominated. Yeah.
Oh, it's not usually always Sinsac. they're gonna be the whole ugly fat bastard characters.
Yeah.
Fat characters, fat ugly old men too, which is another interest of mine. Old men with muscles and such.
Oh, so you like seeing those like the muscular or fat characters fucking the shotas too?
I like seeing it. It's the idea of an old guy pegging down a shoulder. It's almost like a kink, you know. You don't see enough of old men, you know, just dominating over the shoulder character, you know.
Because you do tend to see that, or there is kind of its own genre when it comes to lollies.
Yeah.
And that kind of stuff.
That's true.
I don't know if it's as common with shotas, though, with the same combo.
From what I've seen, it's been muscular men usually that dominate over shoulder characters, like full-on muscular characters. I used to play a game called Daruki. I think it's called Daruki. The guy behind it, you know, he's really talented. And it's a character where you go out, you know, naked and as an exhibitionist, you know, you get raped by several muscular men.
So in that your game you play as a shota?
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't explored the yaoi shota game side of things too much. I'm trying to think if I have played. There's a game called My Sweet Summer Vacation. There's two of them, and in both games you can have. There's like one character that you can have yaoi relations with, and you play as a shota. So that's interesting. But I've never played a yaoi shota game that's like primarily yaoi shota. I've heard of one game I think which also has a sequel. It's called like Shota's X Monsters.
Oh yeah. I had the second version of that game. I purchased it like on DL site. It's a bit like the first one, but I guess it's a little harder because they changed a lot of things in the game to make things harder. Added a whole bunch of new characters, and that is incredible. But you know, that game's a really incredible game, and it's been worked on so hard. You can see how much love and dedication went into it, just like in Sexual Awakening.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think another guest described it as kind of similar to Pokemon. I think the Shota's X Monsters one.
Yeah, Pokemon without the element of catching. Well, actually, instead of catching them, I guess you become friends with them.
and you can fuck them too, isn't that right?
I do believe so. There are scenes where you have relations with them. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a pretty fun idea. I can see why people like that. And it's always interesting to hear like how people like how they like their shota and stuff. It seems like Alex kind of likes like the kind of like an average kind of shota, like, but some other people will say like, oh, I really like the bratty shotas, or stuff like that. So it's interesting everyone's preference on shotas. And I've talked to people, of course, who really like the kind of like the sweet and gentle and submissive and non-threatening shotas.
And then you have to consider too, like if it's a pairing with another, like what the personality of the other shota is. So it's like the dynamic too between the two shotas, or a shota and an adult. Because remember how Willy Wanker was saying that like where he liked having the adult character be a little more he like would be more submissive to the bratty shota and stuff like that. So like you have to think of both character sides too sometimes, and it's fun when you think of that. Yeah,
it's so cool that everyone has their own preference, because like for example, Alex has been talking about having like older or fatter muscular men dominating the shotas, and like our previous guest Willy Wanker had he had a preference for the shotas dominating the men. So it's so interesting. Everyone has their own thing.
I can't imagine that, like shotas dominating men. Like that seems something like something I've never heard of before.
You really don't see it very often.
Yeah, I'd imagine it'd be rare to see, a Shota dominating over a man, fucking him with these.
Sometimes I'll search for like fanboy Shota yaoi stuff, and the times I have seen where the Shota's kind of on the more dominant side in terms of like more personality, because I don't usually like it when the fanboy Shota's fucking is doing the fucking. I like seeing them get fucked instead. But anyways, I have seen some like the Shota will like kind of blackmail the man a little bit. So in other words, the Shota's kind of a power bottom, where they're dominant and sort of like the personality sort of thing, or the.
I think I've seen a doshin like that where two male characters blackmail a guy and say, they say like, you were watching us change or something, and they end up having sex with the guy, like forcing him to have sex with both boys.
Yeah, so sometimes you'll see something like that, or you'll see something where like the Shota's teasing the man, like kind of making fun of him, like they'll say the Shota will be like, "Oh, you got hard to me, a kid. You're disgusting," or something like that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So there's all different kinds of stuff you can find when you're looking at Shota stuff, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you might see that in animes too, where younger male characters might tease the adult males. Naruto being one of them, maybe, who makes fun of pervy Sage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Naruto makes fun of him, but just if you saw that whole thing where pervy Sage was to suddenly want to dominate over Naruto after he had like enough of Naruto's teasing, that'd be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that stuff like that could be fun.
Pervy Sage is kind of like Herbert the pervert. Like the Herbert the pervert character in Naruto series.
So is Naruto another Shota that you like personally?
Of course, yeah. He was one of the few animes I really did like growing up, Yeah, just like, when I grow up, I want to be a jiu-jitsu master. I want to do, I want to become a ninja. I want to be like Naruto. When you grow up in, when you grow up in a country that you know nothing about, it's one of the many things you come into. Like, I'm being born in a different country and then seeing stuff when you're growing up in the next country, because I was born in one country and then I fled to another because we couldn't live there anymore. And then you see these like animes and think, I want to go back there. I want to become a ninja. I want to go back to that.
So I know like one of the biggest ships in the Naruto fandom is Naruto x Sasuke. Did you like that, or were you more into other stuff for Naruto?
I don't believe I've ever seen Naruto x Sasuke or any. I don't think I've ever really seen anything lewd based off of Naruto's series. I've only imagined it, but that would be something cool to see. Like maybe if maybe a situation where Naruto tries to do the transformation and ends up naked, that kind of crude humor.
Yeah,
because Naruto has some crude humor in it, and that's one of the many great things about Naruto. It's just humorous. It's funny. It's bizarre but enjoyable.
Yeah. And did you ever watch the Dragon Ball series?
Yes. Growing up, yes, definitely. There used to be a show on TV here called Cheese TV, and they always used to show anime on that show. It's cancelled now because it was back in the early 2000s and 90s. maybe. That's the many shows. One of the many shows I got into. I was a fan of. Not gonna lie, I was a fan of Piccolo and Vegeta. You know, I admit I'm a Piccolo and Vegeta fanboy.
Like of them being together, like or individually.
Individually, I just like them. Like,
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
yeah, well, Vegeta's kind of the, I guess, stuck up Saiyan prince who, wants to show his dominance, and then Piccolo's like the complete opposite, polar opposite.
That's true. And did you like any of the Shotas from Dragon Ball?
Gohan and Bald One.
Oh, the bald Shota. So do you mean Krillin?
Yeah, Krillin.
Yeah.
Gohan and Krillin. They may have been really short, but the relationship between those two, something you want to see more of, something, very, I guess, lewd you'd want to see. I have seen a lot of, Dragon Ball Z hentai between those two, I guess. But,
So Alex, that was a great time with you. We were talking about a lot of different stuff. It was a really fun conversation.
Yeah.
So if people want to find out, find you on different sites or find your artwork, where can they find you?
Rug is Alex Yamchi. Pixiv, it's same Alexander Yamchi. Twitter is X Alex Yamchi. That's Pomf. I stream sometimes as same Alex Yamchi. Those are the only few. So
Cool. So we'll put all of those. We'll put all of those links into the episode so people can find your stuff.
cool.
Yeah, because, people now, I think, are getting more familiar with Pomp and the streaming service, and it's fun to see more people going on there and streaming, so it's cool that you've got a Pomp. So that'll be cool for us to show that to people so that maybe they can jump in and check you out one of your streams sometime.
Yeah.
Oh,
So thank you for coming, Alex. It was a great time with you, and
thank you very much for having me.
thank you.
Yeah, and keep making that great Koikatsu stuff.
Thank you.